All right, welcome folks to Gordium, where we generate, evaluate, and execute on startup ideas. Today we're talking about the problem of humans suck at spell checking. And we're talking about it in a very specific instance, which is when you're talking about cybersecurity. So basically there's these things called phishing emails, spelled with a PH, like fat with a PH. And what someone does is they'll send you an email and they'll say, hey, you need to log into your bank to confirm XYZ. And it'll be from like chasebank.com, except Chase is spelled CHAISE instead of CH. So you'd have like, let me just have an example, like
Question.
email.
Do we have an idea that's already pretty similar to this?
Oh, you're right. URLs can be hacked or misspelled to give you malware. Did I
Right?
really
Because
not?
isn't that the
Oh,
essentially the same problem?
This is like a more personal one, but yeah, let's just update this one a little bit then and punt on this one. I think, so I used to work at this company called Swim Lane. It's beautiful. It's a really cool piece of software. Since we have some time, since this is basically already solved, or we've already talked about this, I want to show you Swim Lane. This was my first coding job of all time. That's what got me coding. I met my current boss at Swim Lane. So let's see. Oh, there's so many buzzwords. Wish I could see a version. Basically, what Swim Lane does is it automatically does everything you'd need to run cybersecurity. So I want to see if they have a picture of their platform because it's so freaking cool. Yeah, okay, so it's kind of like Salesforce, but for security. So, oh, please don't play a video. Oh no, this is just the, yeah, here we go. Can I zoom in? Let me zoom. Please let me zoom. There we go. So basically you give it like, oh, am I zooming out? Oh, Neil. This computer will be the death of me. Okay. Yeah, so it's basically like, well, it's like Zapier for security. So you can say, okay, let's see you get a suspicious URL and an email from in your email. So what it'll do, there's the phishing workflow, they call it. It'll run it through a URL scanner, and then it'll check, blah, blah, blah. And then it can do all kinds of things. So it can run it through a URL scanner, and then it can just automatically delete that email from your inbox. It can forward that email to your security team. It can flag it and let you know something strange is going on. There's like a million different things you could do with it. And it's super nice, but it's only really for like giant, enterprises. So it'd be nice to have it for personal use so that it could just sit there and scan your personal email. Yeah. Be nice to have a spell checker. I don't know about this one. Spell checker. I guess that might be interesting, like spell checker that runs, because there's, I mean, URLs can be hacked. This is slightly different though, because URLs and emails are different. So you could get an email from Chase Bank.
But it's essentially the same
It's a,
thing, but where it is, it's
yeah.
and likely you know, a you're getting a bad email that's sending you to a bad URL.
Yeah, URLs and emails can be hacked, or we'll just update the name of that. Yeah. So I mean, okay. So let's see. Our brains are terrible at spelling, so it's easy to take advantage of. URLs are often hyperlinked, so we don't see the URL until we click on it. And then the URL are often timed to scam, which create time and see. So, I don't know. Let's throw some examples on here. So there's one which is a phishing email from a fake sender that has a bad URL in it. You could have a normal email from a valid sender who accidentally attached the wrong URL. Goggle.com versus google.com, and that gives you malware. Levers. I don't know what our levers are.
Like, what is your desired, pass fail rate? Because I can, I can tell you how to have an email checker that gives you, there's a 0% chance that any bad emails get to you, right? But it'd have a very high false negative, or a very high false positive rate, right?
Yeah.
I could say, okay, if any email comes in, delete, right? And you're never going to get any malware that way, but there's a very high cost there.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think a bright spot here is like spam folders.
Mm-hmm.
So like Google has done some pioneering work on this. I think a lot of I think swim lane for personal use is just Gmail.
Yeah. Although I will say this week I was filling out my taxes, and one of the companies I worked for, I had a digital W-2, and I tried to get to it because it was on a, I don't, frequently need to access my W-2.
Yeah.
And I didn't have my password, so I, yada yada yada, went and tried to get it, said I don't have, or I forgot my password, and it sent it to me, but it went to my spam folder. So then I didn't realize that, and I had to, go all around emailing all these people. And then finally it's like, oh wait, it's in my spam folder, my bad.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. I'm trying to think. So pass fail rate, I think that's a really good one. Duh, 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 duh.
Well, and which, because there's lots of different ways that hackers are,
Oh
trying to.
yeah, yeah. So like, what are you preventing? Bad URLs, bad emails, all the above. I think something else is the UI presentation.
Mhm.
Like Gmail just hides it from you.
Yeah.
You could show highlights around suspicious things if you let everything in, you know. Yeah. Bye. Um,
Have
yeah,
you
it'd be
ever worked
interesting.
at somewhere where you use Outlook?
Ooh. I worked with someone that used Outlook.
Because I
Yeah.
hate whenever you receive an email from an outside organization, it gives you this flag. It's like,
Oh,
do you trust this? And it's like, yeah, I email this person every day.
every.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show how terrible Windows software is. I not all Windows software. I think Teams is okay. Outlook is a steaming pit of garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Outlook.
Yeah, it's trash. You can't do anything with it. Like even Apple's basic mail just vastly outpaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so I feel like those are good, like
Another lever is sort of pivotability, I guess. As hackers figure out what their next thing is, does the solution open itself to evolving?
and this is does it accept human input?
Oh yeah,
So I've been
yeah.
reading The Innovators by Walter Isaacson. I think kind of makes this excellent point. It's so funny. He's citing all these people. So there's kind of two camps of thought. You have AI, which is like computers will replace humans and become smarter. You
Mhm.
have, and then you have human like augmented intelligence, which is computers will augment human intelligence. And so
Mhm.
it's so funny because I had read all these papers by the augmented camp. So there's As We May Think by Vannevar Bush, who I think he ran the Manhattan Project, did all kinds of stuff. Then you have Doug Engelbart, which is Augmenting Human Intellect, one of his papers. I had read all these before without really understanding what they were, just from actually Andy Mustakas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I think we should have
But
a segment where we give you weird names and you have to try to pronounce them.
I'm terrible at pronouncing things. Just horrific. But there's all these pioneers who say, no, computers shouldn't replace humans. They should support. And there's actually really interesting, in Walter Isaacson's book, he talks about chess. And so if you have, they have this competition where there's three types of players. You have just computers, you have just humans, and you have human computer symbiosis. Like they're working together. Humans and computers crushed everyone else. So I think this is really interesting in that can the system accept human input and
Mhm.
learn from it? I think that'd be really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this is that's I think where Microsoft and Outlook, I can't say it doesn't learn, right? When I
Yeah.
receive that email from that person every day, it doesn't learn, and I can't. Well, I don't know if there's not an easy way to flag it as, yes, this is someone I trust. Um, and
Yeah.
like I have an Android phone, and like whenever I get spam calls, Google is always like, was that spam? Were you satisfied with,
Mm,
right? Where they're trying to, yeah. And if I call a business or a business calls me, it's like, was that a business? And I say, yes, it was,
oh, that's
right?
very smart.
Where it's always trying to learn.
Well, and I think there's another. I think this like hey email is at the far extreme where basically, I mean, they have spam protection now. They and you have a spam core that can help, but
Mhm.
basically it's like a zero trust architecture for email where basically everyone, if you've never sent me an email before, you have to ask me to get permission to get into my
Oh, huh.
inbox. So, and you screen basically you screen 5 first time senders like, and so it's just super nice. It basically solves this. If I don't recognize someone, so this problem never happens because if someone sent an email from Microsoft, it would come up as a different email and I would just screen them out.
Oh, yeah,
Super
yeah.
easy. It just would never make it to my inbox. So I don't know. I think
Uh-huh.
this is actually an interesting, like, hey, is the other extreme where humans do, where like all input is human, but it remembers it. I mean, it's a symbiosis in the sense that like once I've screened it, it just remembers that
Yeah,
this is someone you trust.
it doesn't make any decisions on its own. It just remembers your decisions.
Yeah. I like the way you said that. Doesn't make decisions on its own. Just remembers. And I've been surprised at how effective this is. Like, it's actually not annoying. I get a ton of email, but I get very little from new people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not a big deal. Like, I don't really have that many random people
Well,
emailing me.
and then
Yeah.
because of that, you like I've been, a couple situations this week where it's like I'm waiting on new emails to come in, so I'm constantly
Mm.
changing, like, is it in the spam? No, it's not. Whereas if it's just like,
Oh,
oh, if it's coming in, it's coming in here.
yeah.
So it's really easy to check.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, which reminds me, I should probably check my Gordium email and see if they sent me. I applied to Google via our Gordium email and they wanted to interview me, but I never checked my Gordium email. So I tried to email them back with my personal email, but they haven't emailed me yet. So that just may not be. I'm probably not going to work at Google. So anyhow, let's see. So our bright spot is spam folders. I think another bright spot is just the way Hey does it.
Yeah.
Hey's screener, which I should probably just link that, right? They have really nice. It's so nice because they have each feature has its own URL. So I wrote an article that talked about Hey, and I was able to just link right to this. Yeah, so you can see how it works. Yeah. So if you just don't want to talk to any of these people, you can say nope, 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 nope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hey also has a spam filter. So there's like straight spam, but there's
Yeah.
also just, and then you have a history and it's really nice and you can go change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I love that they have a URL for each feature because it
Yep.
makes it super simple to target and say what I'm actually talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we already rated this. This is a not our not now.
Yep.
I feel good about the solutions. Do you want to call this a wrap?
Yep. We did
All
it.
right. Thanks for joining us, folks.